1, go. Okay. Well, guys, this is the first Canadian in the channel. And funny, not a Canadian in these markets I've been talking with. So welcome, Abdul, from Maranhão, Brazil, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yes,
Uh,
thank you.
So, Abdul, how long have you been playing here in Brazil? Because you're such a young guy. So you're 23, right?
Yeah, I'm 23. Yeah. So I've been playing for about a year and I think around a month now. Yeah, a year and a month in Maranhão, Brazil. So
So for
yeah,
those who are not familiar with Maranhão, it's a northeast state in Brazil. Brazil is as big as Canada, for example, like the country where Abdul comes from, but in a different shape, right? The position of the geographically say. And Maranhão is not a, 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 a much popular destination of soccer clubs in Brazil. They have good clubs, but not as many as, for example, in São Paulo, in southern parts, Rio Grande do Sul, Rio de Janeiro. So how has this opportunity been, I mean, for these past 13, 16 months for you?
yeah. So the opportunity itself, it's been really great. So I mean, I I was basically after 6 months of being here, getting my documents done, right, with the agent that I came with. I signed with the team. Fortunately, I think they were first division in Maranhão, right? So they play in Maranhense and they're also fourth division all of Brazil, right? So I was really lucky to be a part of that squad. And, unfortunately, I wasn't able to play in the first division in Maranhão at that time just because of, just, I guess it was just the selection of players that he had at that time, the coach, right? But I was able to get some games in with the fourth division all of Brazil. And I was really glad about that because that's technically my first professional experience here in Brazil or in soccer in general. So yeah.
So we've been talking a little bit earlier here, and I was trying to understand this. What is the path for a Canadian to play here in Brazil? And actually, it's not just for a Canadian. So here in this channel, Bolu Akinwande, which plays nowadays for a USL Championship team, he was born in Nigeria and moved to the US at early age. It's almost your story, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was born in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, right? And then I moved to Ottawa, Canada. So the Ottawa is like the capital city in Canada. I moved there when I was around 10 going to 11 years old, right?
So your passion for football, there, not soccer,
Yeah.
comes from Africa actually, and people I think they're as crazy as Brazilian for soccer. But what was the scenario for you in Ottawa? I mean, at that time they probably had the Ottawa Fury, but soccer was not that boom thing, but that is not as booming as right now that it is on the verge of going to the FIFA World Cup, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So at that time when I moved in, right? Like when I moved to Canada, right? So I guess what really got me exposed to the soccer world was doing my school, my middle school, because I had to go into middle school right away, right? And and that's where I started making friends, and from there on, I was able to play with the club teams, right? And they really saw my potential there, and I stick there. But then because I guess you were talking about Ottawa Fury, right? How those were like the top tier teams back then, right? So I wasn't able to be a part of that. I think the biggest reason was the financial aspect of it, because I remember back then, to play soccer at a really high level in Canada, you have to be well off, right? And leaving Nigeria to come to Ottawa, that was a big change for my parents. It was just me, my two sisters, and my mom that came, right? So it was really a big challenge for her just taking care of the three kids. So I guess that really put me a step back a bit until, like, I guess during my early high school years. That's when I started, I guess, uh, showing some sort of potential to actually go towards the professional level. So that's when I started getting myself incorporated with those teams. So like there's a big club in Ottawa called OSU. I don't know if you've heard about
OSU?
that. And yeah, it's like Ottawa South United, right? So there's a few young players that leave that club early on to play at, with TFC, which has a league in the USL, the MLS as well. And like that leave to play Vancouver Whitecaps. That's where uh what's the name of the big player? Alphonso Davies. That's where he left to go to Bayern, right?
Oh,
So
really?
there's
Oh, no, no, no.
yeah,
Alphonso
so
Davis he started in Vancouver, but did he attend this project or a different one?
no, he didn't attend this project. I'm just saying that, like, from those teams, like from OSU, right? That's where players really leave to go to those teams in the USL, their youth teams, right? And that's where they really get opportunities to really shine, to play, right? Because it's a bigger facility, bigger investment in Toronto, in those areas, right? So I was lucky to be a part of that club for a while I was, growing up, developing as a player. So yeah.
And you had the chance to play on university level, right?
Yeah. So I
How
had a
much
chance to
different is the
play.
structure from the OSU from what you had on your university and even in Brazil?
So I would say I remember my first year playing at the university level, right? The
Which
biggest thing
university,
I
by the way?
found, Carleton University. It's the so there's two universities in Ottawa, right? There's Carleton and there's Ottawa U. Well, they're two big universities that actually have soccer, right? So I was lucky to be part of that Carleton squad. I guess there's only one university in Ottawa that has, varsity soccer, right, for men's. So, and that would be Carleton. And that's where I chose to go to that school just because I knew I wanted to play soccer with them, right? So, and I guess the biggest difference for me between, youth soccer and university soccer was the physical aspect of it. And I was a player that was very like I was a skinnier, fast body type of player. That's what I was before. And so when I got to university, I had to like really go to the gym and start building my body a little bit more so I can, take hits and different, basically, yeah. So just build my body to be able to take hits and just the intensity of the games, because I remember we had like 2 games every week, right? And so that's like it's really big on the body, right? So yeah, so I guess that's the biggest change I found, was just the physicality of it, of the game. And I guess between university and I guess professional, especially professional in Brazil, I guess what I found, the physicality is definitely there, but it's something they call vontade here. Like it's just like the will. It's like the spirit to play, right? To play at those high levels. It's like, you win a tackle, you're just like filled with so much energy, so much confidence to like, do more and more and more, right? That's not something you see with Canadian players. Like it's very, very different here in Brazil. It's just like any little thing just adds towards your confidence, adds towards your, that just spirit of playing. I don't really know the words to really describe it, but it's just like, it's almost the heart that makes the biggest difference between university and, professional level, because you're playing to basically take care of your family. It's a profession, right? It's a whole different ball game, right? So
It is
yeah.
it is interesting to hear this impression from someone that comes from overseas, because for us Brazilians it's quite almost natural, and we do realize that in many other countries, when I talk to players outside Brazil, they see that the reaction is a bit different. For us, culturally, is so much different soccer for ourselves, and the pressure, the ambition. I don't know, maybe even the dream, the illusion about it. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, in the end, sometimes it's positive, but sometimes even negative for the player when they go outside Brazil, because they have a different mindset when playing soccer, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had to like really, I guess that was the biggest thing I had to struggle with, right? Just getting that heart, just really getting into it, like with everything I have, with just putting my heart out there. But yeah, but once you get the hang of it, it makes things so much easier, right? You play with so much passion, so much love for the game, and it's all important to really play at those really high levels, right? So
Sure. Lately, I've been talking to some players, Brazilian players, student athletes in the US, and we usually discuss about the situation that in general, youth, NCAA sports, they tend to I don't know, to raise that dream of, okay, you should go and be drafted for this major league and become a player for this sport. Well, for soccer is nowadays a bit different, as players are joining these major leagues a bit earlier than when they finish school, when they finish the university. Uh, what is the scenario in Canada? Because uh, 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 I know that nowadays the
yeah,
Canadian Premier League, they draft players from the university, but it's something quite new, right?
yeah, it's something quite new. I think they really started that. If I don't want to. I'm not exactly sure. I think 2019 when I left. No, 2019. I think that's when they started the whole drafting, right, for the CPL. But then it became even more popular. I guess Carleton University is actually really big with football now. Like they won. I think they were probably like, yeah, they came second place in nationals. So like that's like all over Canada, right? In terms of like how good they are. So a few of my friends actually got drafted to play at the CPL level. So I think so 2021 now. Yeah, 2019, that's when it really started. And I guess once you get drafted, I did have a friend that got drafted, but then he's back in school again, right? To finish his like last year of school. So I guess that's acceptable, right? But there's also some players that get drafted and stay playing, right? So I think if you're still in school and you get drafted, it's like almost like a development type of contract that they give you. So you still get paid, but it's just that you have to go back to school and then get drafted again to play for the next year. I
Yeah, I
guess
think
that's
it's
how it
like the
is.
NHL contracts for those who are more familiar with ice hockey, right? Some players are drafted really early, but that's not a guarantee they're gonna be playing in the major league level, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
The club just
Yeah.
has the preference on his future paths, right? Probably. And but while we were studying in Ottawa, do you have that expectation of becoming a pro player already?
Yeah. So I guess I had that burning desire, you can say, right? Because I've always, I remember leaving high school, I've always wanted to leave the country, right? To become, a pro, right? And I had an opportunity to leave, I guess you could say, when I was 17 at that time, when I left high school. But my parents didn't really want that for me because, the sacrifice that especially my mom made, right, was for me to, get that good education, go to school and, have a good job after it. So it was the expectation that they put on me. But, I guess when I got into university, I had that mindset that, once I make the team, I can then start building that career to basically go out and play pro. But I guess that burning desire came to me my second year after finishing at Carleton. I really wanted to, travel and go to the States and see the opportunities that were there, right? So I guess I had a friend that had a connection with an agent, right? So I guess I remember after the second year summer of university. So I guess I was 19 at that time, right? So that's when I was looking for opportunities to really leave and try to, be a professional, right? So that's when I was looking. But then unfortunately, things didn't really work out the way I would like it to. But then that's when the whole opportunity about coming to Brazil, that's when that came about. And I was able to actually leave, right? So yeah. So that's when I took that opportunity to begin with. what we talked about earlier when 12 Canadian players came to Maranhão to play at the pro level, but unfortunately the whole project itself didn't really work the way we expected it to go, right? So
But are you the only Canadian still in Brazil out of those 12?
So what happened was in 2019 when I came, I was actually in my fourth year, right? I said I was in my second year. I was actually in my fourth year, but the burning desire came in 2017. That's what I wanted to say when I wanted to leave the country. But then unfortunately, like I didn't really end up going. But then 2019, something came up with the Brazil professional development program, right? And I decided to, be a part of that. And that's when we left with 12 Canadians, right? So out of all the Canadians there, I was the only one that came back because in 2019, when things didn't really work out, right? I went back home, but then luckily I kept contact with, I guess you can call him, he's my agent now, right? So I kept contact with him. And we were talking over the summers and he was looking to get me to come back again to really start that program again, right? So I stayed in contact with them and that's how I was able to, come back here to play now.
And what is like to be a foreign player in Brazil, especially coming from a country that people don't know much about the soccer culture?
Right. So
because, for example, if a guy from Argentina comes here, Brazilians usually receive it very well. While in Argentina is the opposite. They don't have Brazilian players there. They don't like it. They don't want to see Brazilians there. But they do realize, they do respect the soccer culture we have here, the quality of our players. But in Brazil, I think in general, Brazilians accept very well any foreigner playing soccer. Is that the impression you have as well?
Yeah, that's the impression I have as well. And like, I guess, yeah, they accept everybody equally, right? That's what I love about Brazil is the people. I've always said that, right? It's just the acceptance, the culture is really great to really mesh with different types of people, right? But I guess being an African, being a Nigerian helps a lot because, like I've also, I guess the first time I came here, right? Like I sort of saw a vision of back when I was in my country, right? It's something somewhat similar. Yeah. So like that's why I love Brazil a little bit more, just because it just reminds me of my homeland, right? So I guess, yeah, that's
because Lagos is much bigger, crowded than São Luís or any other city from Maranhão, right?
Yeah, Lagos is really crowded. Yeah, it's very, very crowded. But I mean, yeah, I don't know, for some reason it just reminds me of just that vibe, I guess. I don't know.
Which is not the vibe from Ottawa -40, right?
No,
-40
Celsius. That I definitely don't miss. For sure.
So somehow it felt like home, but as a player, did it feel like home? Because when I talk to Brazilian guys and going to North America, they say, "Oh my God, the game is much more physical." And in the matter that where they're playing, these guys are playing like Europeans right now. It's different for us. How difficult was it for you?
Oh my goodness. I'm glad you really asked that because it was very difficult because like you said, right, in North America, right, we played the European style football, right? So getting used to because the Brazilian styles are all different game. That's what
it's a different sport.
It's a different sport. And like at times I just feel crazy. I'm just like, I don't understand what these guys are doing. But
why are they so slow?
Exactly. It's just like something you're supposed to, like there's just so many. I mean, it's like in a way I take it in a positive sense now because I get to, I know the European style football and now I can learn the Brazilian style. So that adds to I guess, I don't know the word for it, but you know what I'm trying. It's like it adds to my I don't like. Do you have a word for me to?
Yeah, but I think it's the same feeling that when Brazilians stay a little longer outside Brazil, they do understand the the positive aspects of being part of that culture and embracing the best of what you got in the end.
Exactly. Because with the Brazilian style, right, I was able to put some of the Brazilian style and incorporate it into my playing, and it's something that
But are you playing as
like
center forward or what is your position here in Brazil?
So in like personally, I love playing as a central forward, right? And I've with Viana when I was playing back there, I've showed a few of my strength as a center forward because I'm very good at holding the ball and laying it off. That's like my specialty. That's what I like doing. But I play more as a winger, so as like a right wing or a left wing, right? So that's usually what I'm playing in here in Maranhão in Brazil, right? So it's just like I'm usually so that's my position.
Yeah, because as a winger, I think you probably have very good speed.
Exactly, yeah. So I have very good speed.
You have the strength you developed and you grew up, and even your genes, maybe you're a stronger guy than Brazilians that usually are not that strong physically, right?
Yeah, they're not that strong physically, but in the professional world, right? Like a lot of them, they hit the gym, they take care of their bodies, right? But there's obviously exceptions to that, right? Like the really good players, they're just like, they just do their thing. Like you can tell, like there's some talent, right? That doesn't require you to, do much. But like, yeah, so a lot like I would say Brazilians are really good with that because supplementation, I found that like in Canada, it wasn't, especially in Ottawa. I'll talk about Ottawa because that's where I've played in Canada, right? It wasn't something really big. But when I got here in Brazil, supplementation in terms of like creatine, protein, different things like that, right? It's incorporated in all the clubs here, even, right? Going to the gym, just making sure that your body is very like you're well built, right? So it's something that I found that they promote and which is something I really like, right? So I was really happy about that.
Yeah, it's like I cannot compare ice hockey in Canada and in Brazil because there's no ice hockey, but you can compare with the CFL and the local American football we have here. A lot of guys in Canada, they play and you're gonna find good players here. While in Brazil, we still a lot of years, decades to reach that point. Maybe Canada, because I think Canada is such a good pace with the good example of the US, and structurally, I think they're gonna. I think Canada may go to the World Cup with the US, with the United States this year, right? And I don't even know if Canadians were expecting.
Definitely a possibility. Yeah, there's a possibility for sure, especially with the way the national team has been playing so far. So it's a possibility for sure. It will be big for the country.
They're not fearing Mexico. They're not fearing the US. And these opponents, they're realizing that they do not fear nowadays.
Yeah.
This is interesting, right? They have tied with Mexico, they tied with the US. Consider that they have a professional league for just 2 years. So
and impressive. I don't know if you know about the rankings. Like they're in the top 50, right? For the first time in like I don't know how many years. So it's really good for the country for sure.
For sure, it makes you really happy. And what is your perspective as a soccer player now in Brazil, or maybe even for the rest of your career? How you see as a player right now?
Like, do you mind elaborating? Because I don't really.
Sure.
What do
My English is not that good. I was just thinking that, okay, maybe you were not thinking of going to Brazil a few years ago. Now you had the chance to play here. This position as forwards in Brazil, they have a very specific style. When I talk to these forwards that they go outside, they always say, "Oh my God, these guys, they seem to be always anxious. They are always in a hurry. They go always in this box-to-box situation." But in the end, when Brazilians, they adapt to it, they excel at it. Why you come from this box-to-box culture, come into this different situation. How do you see it nowadays as a player, technically, and also in your perspective as a career? How do you see playing? Is it in Brazil? Is it in Canada? What is your future?
Uh, that's I guess it's a question like I definitely see myself going to Europe. Like I really want to go to France, but if I'm talking in terms of like I guess my playing style and where I would fit the most, right? I still think like my biggest strength is within that, the quick European style football. But if I'm able to really excel with the Brazilian style, right, that would give me just an edge to really almost like Brazilian soccer is needed anywhere in the world. It's wanted everywhere in the world, right? So that can take me to literally anywhere if I'm able to really master and excel at it. So
Yeah,
I
because
feel like
I think the player that comes to my mind in any part of the world that has this combination of speed and that quality of the game actually a Canadian guy, is Alfonso Davis, right?
yeah.
So he combines it very well. So maybe it's the situation, this reference you have got, right?
Yeah, maybe. But Alfonso Davies, I guess he is a left back, right? So that's the thing. But I mean, he did play as a winger growing up, I guess, right? And then Bayern turned him into a left back, and he's been really good at that. So
I was told
yeah.
I was he received some news that he was going to be back as winger because it's natural for him. I don't know if it's gonna happen in the end.
Oh, I haven't really heard. That's the first time I've heard about that. But yeah,
Because
it'll be interesting to
in the end
see
he
for
plays
sure.
both positions during the game. He's so fast
Yeah,
that he
he
does
does
everything.
because I don't know if you've seen the goal he scored against. I think it was,
Panama.
I don't know the team, Panama,
Yeah,
right?
last game
Yeah, like
it
he
was
ran.
amazing. I mean, the Panama
Yeah,
guy, he
like
was
18.
5 meters from the ball, he was 30 meters far. And he managed to
Yeah,
win the situation.
yeah. That's like I still can't believe it, but yeah, for sure, it will be something interesting to see for sure.
So
Yeah,
you do believe you do have this goal, this dream of playing in France? And why France?
yeah. I mean, a funny story, I guess. My idol as a Nigerian, right? Like he played in France, and like my idol in Brazil is in France. Like Neymar is like one of is one of my idol. Like a lot of people criticize the way he plays and whatnot, but like it's just somebody like I guess he's just my idol. There's really nothing else to say, right? So they both played in France, and that's somewhere I would like to go. I like to experience for myself as well, right? So I
And,
guess
and you do speak French because you're from Ottawa, or right?
I mean I wouldn't say I speak French because I don't speak French, but I do understand the language, like because I mean in Nigeria as well, right? It's the official languages in Nigeria is English and
English.
French, right? And when I came to Canada, it was the same situation. So back in Nigeria, I was learning French, but it's just that there wasn't really a necessity to learn French if you already know English, right? So it wasn't really a big deal if you don't know how to speak French. But I feel like once I go to France, I'm gonna have to learn French a lot more, like how to speak it properly. I do understand a few bits and phrases and all of that, but like it's not enough to have like a full conversation with somebody, right? So
Yeah, because Ottawa is
yeah,
in Ontario, but it's like right next. It's Quebec, right? So
yeah,
I thought
right
that in
next to
Ottawa
Quebec.
people would naturally speak French because I remember listening to some Ottawa Senators game and they were in French. Then I thought, oh my God! So they do think it's the Rouge Noir team. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, they do speak. There's a lot of French speakers in Ottawa, right? Like, but it's just like it was just a language, I guess. I never felt the need to really learn, I guess. But
while
I've always like,
as an inhabitant of Ottawa, people do speak English in the end, right?
yeah,
Oh,
everybody do speak English. And like in Quebec, you'll be surprised that there's a lot of English speakers there, right? So it's just like I never really felt the need to learn French, although I was studying French all my life, right? But I do, like I said, I do understand basics of French, And it really helps that like I speak Portuguese, I guess fluent now, you can say. I do speak Portuguese very well. So I guess learning French it's not gonna be a challenge at all. So yeah, it's not something I'm worried about learning the language.
No, this is really cool. So,
Yeah.
você fala português bem?
Fala. Muito bem.
Yeah, cool. You do speak Portuguese, yeah. As a multi-language player, I can only thank you for the opportunity of getting to know you, a Canadian player here in Brazil, playing the Maranhão League for Maranhão. So you do have a contract with Vienna until the end of the year?
No, like, so what it is like my agent here has a team named Areyoses. And I was actually loaned out to play at Vienna just to get some experience in the second division, right? To get more playing time, basically. It's what it is. So then I have like under 23 competition coming up, FMF, that's what they call it. So in like a month or so, I need to decide, like I have a few offers to play with teams. So I need to decide on, the path I'm gonna go.
In Brazil.
Whether to stay here, yeah, in Brazil. Whether to stay here, to just leave this city for Pinheiro, right? So I'm trying to decide what I'm gonna do.
Okay, so I'm gonna follow your path in Brazil and even outside Brazil, because you do have a different background, a different story, and a really nice one.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I can only thank also our friend Jonas. Jonas seems to know everyone in the world. So
Yeah, it does. It does. It does. He was telling me about you yesterday, and it was just funny because when he messaged me, right? That's when I like literally I would say a minute after, that's when I got a message from you. I'm like, oh, your friend messaged me already. And he's like, oh, that's good. And then that's when this whole thing happened. So I'm really grateful to have him as a friend. So
yeah, he's such a nice
he's
guy.
like a very, very good person. He's been an inspiration for me as well, because in 2019, funny thing was he came from Portugal, right? Him and another player from Rio de Janeiro, Jan Clayton. They both of them came to play at the team, but then unfortunately, like I said, right, the project didn't go the direction we wanted it to go. But like I said, he came back at the same time I came back. We came in, we were in contact with the same agent, right? And he told us to both come back and do the project here. And that's where he got that opportunity to play in Bolivia, right? And I got the opportunity to stay in Brazil and play with Juventude Samas. That's like the Serie B team here in Maranhão. So yeah.
Yeah, then so I'm gonna follow maybe on under 23 championships or other ones in Brazil. Have a lot of them, even though they're very short ones in the calendar, which is not
They're
that good
very
for Brazil.
short, yeah.
But they're really good championships. So I can only wish you really good luck here in Brazil, that you may learn or have already learned a little bit of what we do different here. But certainly in Brazil, we need to learn what you guys are doing in North America. But I think we're gonna learn.
For sure.
So this is gonna be a good exchange program for you. I don't know for how long, but it's already a pleasure to be talking to you. And I have an open invitation for a second chat. I don't know, maybe in Brazil, with you in France or in Canada. Who knows? Huh?
Who knows? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's been really great for you to give me this opportunity. Accept the invitation. I guess Jones sent to you about having a conversation with me. It's been really nice for you to accept it and to use your time to basically have this. I guess I don't know what to call it, interview with me, right? It's a little weird in English because the translation would be interview, but like interview in English will be, like something job related.
Job interview, yeah.
Yeah.
In Brazil, we call it resenha. We call it conversa de boteco, bar, like
bater papo.
Yeah, it's like quick chat or barbecue conversation. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
but thank you for having me on for sure.
No, thank you for having me this Saturday night. I don't know if you had all this time available, but thank you once again. And I'll see you in this next conversation of ours, okay?
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
Joe,
take care.
take care. Bye-bye.